Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Hendrigo.
Hello everybody. Where do yun lang siguro gamay na tao I can just address this audience. So my name's Henry. I'm with the Cebu Literary Festival. We started in 2014 and the videos that were shown were some of our activities sa Lit Fest. This afternoon, I would particularly want to talk about two particular events and stories that we've been involved with. One is spoken word in Cebu, and the other is the annual Literary Festival, which we hold, which is scheduled this year, July 21 and 22 at the Ayala Center, Cebu. Let's start with spoken word. About 3 years ago, we got an email from Sarah K. and Phil K. I didn't know who they were, and they just said, hey, we want to do a show in Cebu. At first I was quite hesitant because I wasn't really into the whole spoken word scene, and so that show that year didn't happen. And when they did it in Manila, it was such a big hit, and I realized that, hey, maybe there's a market for it in Cebu. So the next time they called us, I said, sige, let's do a show in Cebu. And when we did that show in Cebu, boom. That for me was how we got involved in the spoken word scene here in Cebu. After that, we started to do workshops. We started to have open mics. We started to do write-in sessions. Write-in sessions are basically free events where you just go and you're given a topic and you're given 30 minutes to write about it, and then after that you have an option to share if you want to share what you've written. So that has been quite interesting for us. And from then on we started to do workshops in the malls. We've done workshops here. We've also done, this is a photo from our workshop at the SMC side. We've also done events in Ayala, in Park Mall, and in the Mactan New Town. If you ask me, I don't know. I don't know where spoken word is going. It's literature is constantly evolving, and we'd like to think that we're evolving along with it. So that's the spoken word story. What else do you want to talk about? We'll talk about. So that's one of our open mic events in SMC side. I personally think that open mics are a very democratic avenue for performance, for poets, because if you just want to perform a poem, you just go and sign up and you perform. We've also done events at the Museo Cebu. We like working with the Museo Cebu because it's a very, very interesting place. If you guys haven't been to the Museo Cebu, you should check it out. It was a former prison, and now they've converted it into a museum. So we do free events there once every few months, normally geared towards kids and reading. And upcoming events. What upcoming events do we have? We have July 21-22 is the upcoming Lit Fest. It's going to be Ayala. It's in collaboration with Comic Cat in Manila. So it's a lot of graphic novels, art, stickers, t-shirts, homemade, artist-made products that are for sale. We also have workshops with Danton Remoto, who's coming over to teach a poetry workshop, May 29. We also have creative writing workshops with Therese Villarante, and June 23 we have a storytelling workshop with Kuya Boji Pascua of Batibol. That's it. Any questions? Reactions? So there. I'd like to introduce Juanita. She's going to do a spoken word piece.
Hi everyone. So ever since I was in college, I've always been volunteering for LitFest. I started off as a volunteer and eventually Henrico got me as the project coordinator, and then I've been with LitFest for how long? 2 years around that time. But I think what let LitFest really boom was the spoken word, as what Henry said, because it gave us a chance to like visit different schools and universities. Not only did we have an opportunity to go to different malls, or we were like asked to hold workshops for them, we also gave it free workshops in different schools and universities, which is really the main goal of LitFest, is to create a community geared towards celebrating literature. And that's what we've been doing for the past 4 years. So I also perform with the LitFest team, and I'm going to share to you my second ever Bisaya poem. And most of the people think na spoken word is all hugot, but it's not, because it can be an avenue for different things. It can be political, it can be personal, it doesn't necessarily have to be heartbreak or falling in love. But I will share to you a hugot piece. It's probably like my third hugot piece. This is called Istorya Hinubog, and I'm not sure if you've heard it or seen it. Pero para ni sa mga taong iingnan og I love you sa mga hubog ra. Gihigugma ra ko niya kung hubog siya. Katawanan, masakit-sakit nga katawanan, pastilan, iuna na ang gitabay sa unsa, kaseryoso sa problema, iagi na lang natong katawa, abit pa lang nagmaoy ta. Kahappy ra nato sa Facebook, diba, sa Twitter ra nato, ipaagi atong drama, kay i-retweet na pa na nila mga hinampak ra. Pero dili na mao ang importante, atong istoryaan din akong palahubog na lalaki. Sa katugay na mong iri-iring ka nang iyang kasing-kasing, huwag yun may konting sa pipila na panuktok, huwag yun may ingking. Pero pwedeng igat-igat, pwede niyang pa-cute-cute, pwede niyang pasikat-sikat, o yabang pala mo pa namang tutut. Pero ganun na pa ko atong gabi-una na nakabibugin kami lang duha, ka-red horse, gitungap, lipungap, pinistinin, ako mo, usap. Sige siya, natawa, ni kalit siya og tiksi, ni kalit siya og hilom, ni kalit na og sulting, og siya, baby. Shit guys, mo na niya. Baby, higumati ka. Unsa kay sa balika, I love you. Oh, English na to ha. Nabungol akong dunggan, niuga akong tutunan, nibuto akong dughan, o tanang kabaduyan na inyong hunahunaan, tabo na nato tanan. Pero akong gikalma, akong kaugalingon, ikaw inday, palihog, ayaw tumudayon. Ihigog para kaniya, kahubog siya karon, timan ihubog siya. Karon, panguta na siya balik, kaabot sa umag, higog mo pabaka, kanang nahawasan na. O na inday, bisag unsa patawang niya, kapak, bet. Panginoon, gaya po ka, shit, mali pa ka, shit. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henrico and Juanita Romualdez with Bonji Pascal. She is a graduate of Fine Arts at the University of San Carlos, and she received her master's degree in anthropology from the same school, and her works have been exhibited in Cebu, Manila, and recently in Melbourne. She has also worked as a book illustrator, and currently she is a faculty member of the Department of Fine Arts at the University of San Carlos. And to give us a talk on the contemporary art scene in Cebu, please let's give a hand to Miss Ivy Marie Apa.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm going to talk about the contemporary art scene in Cebu. So, lisod din siyang piece na i-reson. So, ang first question nga ipangutan na kung when we talk about contemporary art is, what is contemporary art? Lisod din siya i-define kay nagka-contestation sa definition niya. Unsay naka-contemporary sa contemporary art, unsay naka-art sa art karon. So, ang old, I'll start off with the old genre-based framework sa definition sa contemporary art. So when we talk about contemporary art, we refer to conceptual art, installation art, performance art, video art, new media art, and street art. These are only some of the formats in contemporary art. So, kani nga mga formats sa art started in the 1960s. So, pag 60s, which is a very important and critical period sa art history, there was an explosion of art formats or genres, such as the ones mentioned earlier. And in some degrees, these art genres are reactions to the restrictive conventions of traditional art formats like painting and sculpture. So the 60s saw the explosion of art formats. No? So yeah, we have the birth of conceptual art, which traces it, nagana to mo brief overview. Ang conceptual art traces its roots to Dada, or the ready-mades of Marcel Duchamp. The fountain in Duchamp, itong urinal nag-display sa museum by choosing an ordinary object such as a urinal, a mass-produced object, declaring it as art, calling it art, exhibiting it in a space such as a museum or gallery with the authority of the artist makes it art. So, the praise sa conceptual art, iyahang influences sa Dada or sa ready-mades ni Duchamp. Conceptual art, in other words, the idea or concept is paramount. It's the most important thing rather than the actual finished object. So, mas importante pa rin sa mga conceptual artists ang idea or ang concept behind sa work. And it's also a reaction to the 60s pag heavily commodified sa art. So, reaction ng conceptual art. Ang installation art, on the other hand, emerged din siya mid-60s. So, in installation, gitrace po niya yung roots sa ready-mades ni Duchamp. Artists pick ready-mades or everyday objects and do an installation in a specific site. So, installation art is site-specific. Performance art or body art, it's art that where ang body ang medium sa artist. So, kung ang body ang medium, ang finished art object or production is the performance. So, of course, minimalist art also offshoots siya sa conceptual art. Street art or urban art. Street art itong mas familiar na term. It came after graffiti art. Graffiti art being the first form of urban art. Graffiti is text-based. Street art is beyond the textual orientation of urban art. So, deals such as mga figures, and it also uses techniques and methods na hindi gamitin sa mga graffiti artists like stencil, pasting, etc. Pop art, it draws inspiration from popular culture and consumerism. So, mo niya ang old understanding mo niya ang old framework sa contemporary art. And to give you some examples, unsa man ang mga contemporary art practices sa Cebu using this old genre format. So an example of installation art is gamay ra ko nag-ihan nga installation artist. So I just used our project before last year. I collaborated with 3 other artists, si Golda King, Gigi Ocampo, both are painters, and si Attorney Grace Lopez, who is a budding filmmaker. So we collaborated, we did an installation at Cube Gallery. So this one is we wanted to explore the relationship of the woman and the space where she navigates, so the conventions of the space she navigates. So it explores the relationship of women to public and private spaces in the house, such as in the household, a more communal expanse, such as the museum or the gallery. So we did video art, isa sa collaborate, and we just displayed everyday objects sa South sa Cube Gallery, and one ito ang installation. Another example of an installation is Nomar Miano's recent exhibition at Cube Gallery from his exhibition in Carnegie. So this one, which is read his artist statement. This one is an interesting piece because I'll read a part of his artist statement. This is a flat screen monitor, appropriated video clips, painted synthetic frame, acrylic sheets, and acrylic paint. So he said, this site-specific work connects articulations of the redemptory project that moves us, which is the promise of hope or salvation. This promise, he said, can be gleaned through the point of view of organized religion, for example, the promise of earthly paradise from the perspective of the communist movement, the promise of national salvation, and a promise of change, promise of progress as a president, through political messianism and populism. So the framed flat screen, kanang gamay nga TV diha sa install sa wall, plays some video clips na loop niya. So what are these video clips? One is the papal inauguration mass video clip in Latin. So the Pope Francis in the inaugural mass speaking in Latin. The propaganda anniversary video clip of the Communist Party of the Philippines, and the video clip of a traditional political rally kang Duterte sa iyong presidential campaign. Giloop na siya ni Nomar and play again and again sa gallery. So, ingon siya nga Christ's thorny crown painting sa wall or sa background is designed to connote a persisting swirl or movement, like a continuing saga of thorny crusade, of struggle, of sacrifice, which echoes the recurring narratives of video clips seen through the monitor. So nakita siya sa intersections sa mga promises, no? The promise of salvation sa religion, the promise of salvation sa gobyerno, the promise of salvation sa Communist Party, for example. So, another installation that he did, although visual artist is si Nomar Miano, and he's also a painter. This one, still in line with those themes, this is tissue papers, acrylic sheets, fluorescent lamps, wood platforms, appropriated ziggurat image printed on tarpaulin. This was exhibited at the Viva Excon Biennale in Iloilo 2 years ago. This is entitled Act of Sealing. So, ang idea revolves around the cleanliness is next to godliness idea. So, tissue papers installed on top of a crucifix. So, basta about siya hygiene and cleanliness and purification. Next is an example of performance art. Gamay ra pud tag performance artist sa Cebu. I can name some. R.V. Sanchez. This is his work entitled Tape. R.V. Sanchez is one of the founders of Beta Operations, a collective that is interested in exploring new media. So in this particular work, it deals with the idea of consumerism in society and people's neglectful tendency towards the environment. He actually filmed this in India. So he exhibited siya earlier this year sa Cube, sa 856 G Gallery. Next slide. So, he exhibited siya sa Cube, but it was filmed in India during his art residency last year. So, Tape was roughly inspired, he said, by the ancient Japanese artistic form of rope bandage, itawag og shibari. So, he performed nude on the rooftop of the residency studio where nudity is not allowed. So, when I interviewed RP, he had to do this in so he had to do the performance making sure na walay makita na yung tao. So, but he asked someone to film him. So, duha sila sa rooftop in freezing temperatures sa India. They were in the northern part of India. So, illegal na siya. In a way, bawal man ang nudity sa India. So, RV did it sa rooftop sa studio ng as sila perform. So, this was shown sa ilang exhibit on January this year. So, next, yeah. So, this is his performance tape during the his residency is month-long residency in India. So, ang pagkuha niya ni RV, in the video, it shows him trying to break free from the packaging tape na i-wrap sa iyang body along with the rubbish and garbage. No? So, commentary siya sa atong excessive consumption, consumerism sa society. Another video work, previous slide, kaning belt piece, he did this just near school, just near USC Talamban, in front of a famous restaurant. So, sa sidewalk, nag-hold na siya of ice cream, ipamelt niya in broad daylight, in very busy sa streets, no? And nag-blindfold siya, ipamelt niya ang ice cream until the last drop. So, somebody filmed, one of his friends filmed him. New media art, example sa new media art sa Cebu. Si Ernest Dino, one of also the founders of Beta Ops. So, together with RV, he founded the Beta Ops. They are interested in new media, exploring new media tools. So he said he works in sound photography and moving images. He cuts, copies, and pastes mundane clips of sounds, videos, and still images to create new dimensionalities. So, naka-fascinate niya ang mga things na makita niya sa streets, sa everyday life. So, yan ang loop sa video and experimented on effects sa video. So, patuloy ilang two-man show ni RV sa 856G website. So, kanang everyday things lang, everyday scenes, everyday things na makita niya. And then, so also from this show. And street art, sa street art, I think aware naman ta na booming ang street art sa Cebu. No? We see so many street artists doing street art sa urban space. Si Soika is one of the more popular street artists. He also graduated from the University of San Carlos, Bachelor of Fine Arts Painting program. Si Soika is fascinated by not so beautiful things. Kasagaran niya i-portray ka ng mga unpleasant, mga distorted images, mga crude images. Dili Sebwano si Soika, he was born in Leyte but he's Cebu-based. So, yung art practice natin, in a way, Cebuano siya. Because he identifies as a Cebuano, kaya dili man ang spatial signifier man niya Cebu sa art practice. So, Soika's works are inspired by discomforting, unpleasant. In one of his interviews, when we did the show in Melbourne last year, sa radio interview, he said na dili siya ma-drawn towards beauty, ma-drawn siya towards the opposite of beauty. So, yan ang i-portray sa iyang work. So, some of his works are kaning, this one he did in Melbourne. So, he painted actually two murals sa Melbourne. So, he calls his work, by the way, objectoons. So, combination of the words object and cartoon. So, objecthood, mga pati, mga gore, distortions. And cartoons, mga playful, and funny ng mga characters, amusing disposition of characters. So, kato mga old genre-based framework or format sa contemporary art natin ni Rohan. But in the mid-80s, this nag-develop itong understanding sa contemporary art. So, the mid-80s was the height of the debate between artistic modernism and postmodernism. So, it was also the time when the first series of culture wars erupted. So, modernist artists insisted that on media specificity as aesthetic na components of art that only painting and sculpture can provide. So, they prioritize form, mga formalists na sila. So, for the modernists, ikot sila na you take for granted sa sa new art, or sa avant-gardism ang form. So, may debate na. And the culture wars also affected how contemporary art was conceived. And then, in the 90s, timeline namin siya sa development sa contemporary. In the 90s, there was an attempt to veer away from the worn-out categories of contemporary art. So, according to theorists and critics, the supposedly avant-garde formats have now become mainstream and academic na di na siya novel, di na siya mag-okay. Natudlo na siya, na-institutionalized na siya. So, in response to early accounting of socially engaged art, and being true to the emancipatory promise of serious art practice, the present avant-garde tend to be regionalist in perspective. So, away from the urban-based orientation of classical vanguardism. So, they're critical of metropole-centered orientation or city biennale as a paradigmatic framework for artistic validation. So, ang kaning relational revelation sa 90s led to the interrogation of hidden dominations in the art world. So, next. Still in the 90s, the world of art is on theoretical impasse in that it is unable to explain contemporary art's constitution in relation to society. Yun sa man ang stake sa public in terms of reception sa art. And many contemporary artists go out of comfortable categories of art which are now seen as hackneyed or worn out. So, na-realization sa 90s na there is an underlying relational dimension in art. So maybe this dimension can be best revealed through philosophical discourses in the 70s regarding the nature of art. What is art? Ingon pa ni Arthur Danto, the understanding of art as art is a hermeneutical affair, which means that the understanding of art is always a socially mediated form of understanding in the arthood of objects, which relies on shared traditions or relationships. So, kanang shared tradition or shared horizon na gitawag sa mga hermenoids. For example, the Judeo-Christian tradition, kanang i-share sa mga Christians, salvation, or ang tradition sa mga artists nga magbuhat ng tag-art kay nay shared horizon na ang pagbuhat sa art eventually makanindot sa kalibutan, maka-ameliorate sa kalibutan or maka-emancipate nato, maka-liberate nato. So, ang kanang insight provided new ground through which discourses about contemporary art proceed. For one, relation and aesthetics Buryo was going to provide a new critical framework by which to account for avant-garde or contemporary art practices. So, ang avant-garde na karon kay relational it accommodates the peripheries, it moves beyond the center or the metropole. So, next. Ang new framework na karon sa pagsabot ko sa contemporary art is that from the late 90s to present, there were a number of reactions or rejoinders to relation and aesthetics. Newer critical frameworks are also founded to supply the gaps that were deemed unaccounted for by relational aesthetics. So, example, ang dialectical aesthetics ni Grant Kester. So, si Grant Kester nagsuggest na ang relational art sa contemporary ang relational art kay dili siya he made it multi-centered, gawa sa metropole, gawa sa urban center. So para ma-accommodate ang art practices outside, for example, New York. So kay kung kato sa old framework na center diha ang art, ang validation sa art na diha, dili ma-accommodate ang art sa Thailand, ang art sa Indonesia, ang art sa India, art sa other countries. So Kester made it multi-centered. Next. So unsa man ang relational art ng unang contemporary art karon? The now in art discourse is relational art, participatory art, community art, collective art, socially engaged art. So, pareha na synonymous na hindi sila ang mga concepts. Community-based residencies are sprouting in areas erstwhile considered peripheral to the art world. So, ang examples gihatag ni Kester ang Thailand, Indonesia, India, and social engaged art practices. So, inclusive ang framework ni Kester para accommodate ang art practices outside the metropole or the center. Example, si Father Jason D, he does community engaged art. He is the curator or sa mga parish. So he's a Jesuit priest, also an artist. He does community engaged work. So for example, kaniyang barter exhibition sa PSP. So in his artist statement, he said that he is generally interested in attending to the changing religious and cultural circumstances, locations, and events through his community and studio-based art practices. So this one, his current art project, is informed by socially engaged creative practices that attempt to break away from conventional modes of art exchanges, that is, institutional and commercial, and to propose an alternate route of engaging people who are at the peripheries of art discourse and interaction. So this one, in this exhibition, ang main feature, si Father Jason na kanang nasa to. The main feature of the art project is the practice of bartering and off-site engagement with the community of Barangay Peace in Lukban, Quezon. So through the institution, Project Space Pilipinas, he is connected with the community in collaboration with the local barangay council. And after the ocular visit, he said, I intuitively saw the potential of initiating a barter of rice grains with any objects chosen by the community members. Some community members may respond to this invitation because rice is their daily staple food. Others may be skeptical as why they need to exchange almost 1 kilo of rice with any possessions they have. So, even if I offered limited editions of typewritten and signed certificate of sponsorship by those who donated rice, some community members may still ask, why not just give the rice for free when they were contributed by other artists, galleries, collectors, and project donors? In this way, he said, the community and I will negotiate the values of goods exchanged and discuss the possibility or impossibility of reciprocal interaction. So, a video documentation of the process of bartering and recorded individual intentions of trading their chosen objects with rice are displayed in this exhibition. So, interactive ning exhibition ni Father Jason. So, if you notice, ang attendees sa iyang opening sa exhibit, katong ang local community and brought with them their goods, rice, exchange for so, in other words, ang relational art instantiates, encounters one another. Instead of conceptual and or affective modes of experience that the art of the 60s and 70s provide. Here, ang engagement sa audience in the context of art becomes paramount, becomes the most important thing than the art object or the finished project itself. Ang encounters nato sa with one another. Next. So, it's ang relation of aesthetics therefore is inextricably bound up with a question of political or even ethical commitment. So there is an underlying normative valuation in relational art practice which is emancipatory or ameliorative. Another example is Marta Atienza, Dutch-Filipino tagabantayan, Marta Atienza. She won the prestigious prize last year in Switzerland. This kind of art basel, art competition. So Marta Atienza's relational art po niya, iba ni Martha. Community engaged, socially engaged work. So she hires the local community, the fisher folk of Bantayan Island, to participate in his video or art projects. Yung collaborators, local people. So Martha Atienza's video installation, for example, kaning Our Islands, which won the Art Basel Prize last year, addresses serious environmental issues and comments on social issues. Filmed in the sea around Bantayan Island, Atienza recreates an ati-atihan procession complete with all its costumes, its pomp and grandeur, iconic Christs and Roman centurions. Along with these traditional icons, Atienza reenacted national events and issues in the Philippines, such as the Yolanda disaster, the papal visit ni Pope Francis, and the very controversial war on drugs. So, i-reenact nila that is with the slogan, Yolanda Survivor, and next slide, Drug Lord ako wag tularan. So, reenact ni Martha Atienza. This is a very risky project. They were breathing on host lang sa taas. And the title is Our Islands and the coordinates sa Bantayan. So, the full title of her work includes the coordinates because the coordinates are plotted by the fisher folk. Kay part man sa iyang art process, input sa iyang collaborators such as the fisher folk or the local community. So, na-say ang community sa outcome sa project, sa mahimo sa project, sa conceptualize sa project. So, And so in the local scene, asa-asa naman ta sa contemporary art. In the local scene, the Regional Art Forum, or RAF, is at the forefront of this initiative, fostering community-based or socially engaged art projects. So, RAF is an initiative by the painting faculty of the University of San Carlos. This is an organization or network of region-based practicing artists, academics, and counter-experts in the field of art. So, ang intention sa paghimo sa RAF is not to say that Manila art is, or that our art here is better than Manila art, or kami na sa, no, it's we want to contest Manila, without saying better to art. So, amo lang address sa lack of local art reception sa Cebu, sa Bacolod, in the region, the peripheries, the areas outside the metropole, the areas outside Imperial Manila. So, goals sa RAF, ang creation niya, anchored siya sa 3 goals. So, number 1 is to facilitate dialogue between scholars, counter-experts, and practicing artists in the regions. This is to encourage art discourse and alternative accounting of regional art practices in hope of producing publications such as catalogs, books, pamphlets, brochures, etc. And the building of archive for these publications and related works. Kaya, mo na i-complain, no? Kanang poor man ang art reception sa Cebu. Because nobody talks and writes about art. So, mo na ang i-address sa RAF. So, nakita na mo na role na natong tanan partake in this endeavor. Our second goal is to level the playing field between the center, which is Manila, and the peripheries of art, so kita, Cebu, sa region, by encouraging critical reception for art practices of regional artists through discourse and publication. So we actually have been organizing talks, forums, dialogues, exhibitions, workshops for 4 years now, because RAF was founded in 2014. Started as a small initiative. So akong discussion before sa classroom lang, sa faculty lounge lang, and then eventually, nahimong theater, nahimong regional, nahimong international. So we have been bringing in international artists to share their art practices here para mahatag, ma-enrich sa ato mga bago. Mawala sa local art. Kasi And the last goal is to promote awareness and enthusiasm for regional art amongst our immediate communities by involving them in the process of self-knowing, community empowerment, knowledge formation, and service through the visual art. So ultimately, ang goal nato is we have an empowered community. A community that knows its artists, a community that knows how to talk about art, so ambitiously ang goal. We continue to be foolish and believing so. And the example lang sa RAF-initiated project na relational dimension sa promote. Last year, we invited Malaysian artist Chua Shu Rui. She is an emerging contemporary Malaysian artist. Her work is very interesting kay it deals with interactions amongst individuals. So in this project, community-based project entitled Dunya Kalibutan, ang coupling of two words, Malay and Filipino words, Malay, Dunya, meaning world, Kalibutan, Visayan for world. She becomes a facilitator instead of a tutor, mag-holds a workshop by instructing participants to relate to each other, to engage in dialogue, to engage in discourse. So, ang workshop, ang Dunya Kalibutan, it's a participative work. The artist, Shu, serves as a facilitator of encounters rather than an instructor that plans, dictates, and projects artistic values or outcomes. Here, Shu asks the spectator participants to work in pairs, and each participant is then asked to draw the interior of one's home or house and on a paper while describing the domestic space to his or her partner. So magstorya sila while drawing, engage in dialogue while nag-draw. After which, the drawings are cut and pasted to form a single sculptural work. So storya gihapon while doing that. The paper sculptures form different pairs. From different pairs are then collected and exhibited by participant spectators as part of an installation piece. What makes this work interesting is that it's not necessarily textual or object-based. So, in Dunya Kalibutan, we'll go back to conceptual art. Encounters between participants, parama, it's the most important thing. Rather than the finished work. So, this is the installation. So, pag humanog-draw, cut, paste, install sa ceiling sa gallery. So, the art here, sa kaning show, the art here is the intimate conversation between two people, two individuals. So, pag-share nila sa ilang experiences, while drawing, ilang life story or whatever they want to share while participating in the workshop. Muna ang art sa kanyang project. It's not necessarily the installation, it's not necessarily the sculptures, or the paper sculptures, it's not necessarily the exhibition, but the encounters between people. So, and the main concern of this art project is bringing people together as a community and engaging them through art to reflect on ways people resolve, create, negotiate, and share ownership or authorship in relation to each other. So, the encounter that Dunya Kalibutan instantiates reveals a humanizing insight. The other is more or less like one's self. So, sa Dunya Kalibutan ay mga ang conversation bali medium ra ang artist sa para mahitabo ang encounter. No? So, ang art gid ato ang naka-art ato kay ang conversation between two souls. So kanimo na art practice relational community-based. Ang artist i-surrender niya partly ang iyang agency or iyang authorship kay i-share man sa imong collaborators, sa imong participants. So, yeah. This was the very successful project we did late last year. We hope to continue doing it in the years to come. So, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Ivy. So I think with everything that she said, the art scene here is thriving, definitely thriving. At the same time with literature, it's thriving. And we do hope that many people like us here will appreciate arts more and will be able to feel this empty chairs, right?
Siguro invite ko maybe first semester of the academic year. So, kung ano ka nang may hope na kanang attend of exhibition openings. Just kinsa pa ng artist, kay the art community is thriving. Struggling but thriving. So, it really needs the community support.
Thank you, Ivy.
Related to Cebuano history or Cebuano literary history, whoever can answer can one of those two questions between these books. So may I call on Julius Padera to assist me here? Where are you? Please approach the stage. Yes, please. Okay, please hold the mic.
So, okay. So, we actually, namin i-prepare rin yung duha ka pangutana para ninyo mga higala. Ang una kay, this is gikan ni siya sa balak ni Butch Vanilio. Kung kabaw mo sa tubag, lumanin lang kung dagan na itong microphone na. Kana nga microphone. Iaing na ko sa inyong tubag. Kailangan sa inyong isulti na mo, kung anong mauna ang tubag. Kasabot? Kasabot? Ready? Okay.
So ang makatubag sa first question, magpili man sa iyong gusto.
Oo, ang makadaog po noon na may makapili ko na. Yahaya sa makadaog pa ko. Pili ko na una. Writer's baptism. Nabindot na siya. Alright. So, ang una nga pangutan ng mga higala. Lumbaan na niya. Kinsay una makatubag. Unang pangutan na. Kapila namatay ang buwak.
Approach the mic.
Kung kay bawang mo sa tubag, dagan ng mikropono. Kapila namatay ang buwak. Kailangan ni mo isulti nga anong mauna ang tubag. Kapila namatay ang buwak day.
Kaduha.
Anong kaduha man day?
Kaya ang una.
Ang una, ang saman.
Ang una, kung imong ibdo ng buwak.
Sige, ibdo
ay
mo.
kaduha, kung dili niya dawan doon ang dihatag ni muna buwak.
Alright. Kasi mga sawing pala niya. Madali tayo, claim your prize.
Please choose one book.
Dali tayo, no? Di ka ni? Sige, bantay ka ha. Ay, kuhan duhan eh. Usara ha?
Okay, so congratulations.
Congratulations. Same. Helping them proliferate their craft by purchasing their books, if you can. May na lang tam. At least man lang atong atong pagka-Sebwano ba? Madapa sa atong mga anak po.
That's right.
Okay.
If you're interested, the books are there in the front desk, in the book section behind you, or near the standees. So feel free to watch them.
Watch.
Watch it, maybe find it.
Okay. Watch lang ko lang. Ano ko ng palitan? Tanawa lang. Sige. Ang ganda ko mga mga higala.
Second question.
Kini ang type sa theater, no? This is a type of play that is normally portrayed or played or done on stage where people, or rather in reference to the Moro invasion, and it is usually held or it was commonly what they call it, played in Karkar. What is this type of play? It was portrayed in reference to the Moro invasion and was most of the time played in Karkar. Alright. Tagaan ta mong clue. Lami kay di siya nga pagkaon nga maka-high blood.
Type of play.
Type of play. Lechon, takilid din ang muli yung lechon. Ito yung mga lechon. Tagilid kay gituhog. Ikaw na dahil. Halos ba nakuha? Kuha na siya. A type of play that was made, that was in reference to the Moro invasion was mostly played in Karkar. Second, the first clue, ang yangan is related to something na maka-high blood kung palabiyag kaon. Ang second clue, when they portrayed it on stage, ang mga actors maglakaw, pakilit.
If you remember your class. Cebuano Literature class.
Wala.
The major students here.
Loko ko, may nakainom doon. Wala. Okay. So wala mo kunin ng katubag. Sige. Wala. Good. Going once. Going once, going twice. Oh, okay. Ninyo. Unsay tubag ninyo?
Ang tubag, linambay.
Oh, linambay. Mga higala, katong sa mga wakahinumdum, ang linambay kaniuna, ilan ang nibuhat sa stage to portray the Moro invasion, niya magtakilin na sa naglakaw, oras ng mga crab ba. That's why the name linambay came from. Because of how the actors portray themselves on stage. They walk or they move in a crab-like fashion. Pakilin. Naman yung crab na maglakaw straight, papakilin. Okay, so last question. Who can name the 3 previous and current directors of the Cebuano Study Center? Full name, ha? Full name.
With their title.
Okay, you can try. And their title.
So for the next part of our program, oh, by the way, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our Cebuano writers in the back. We have Butch Bandilio and Chino De Luffy with Kevin Lagunda. Kevin Lagunda will be part of our panel discussion. So I think we all know Facebook, right? So everyone does. Even an 8-year-old knows Facebook already. Bisa gato ang mga lolo lola knows Facebook, di ba? So we have grandparents who have access to Facebook accounts. So and also we all know that it all started with Mark Zuckerberg's idea. And right now, for the next part of our program, we have called in 3 speakers from different fields, and with I think this will also be generations, for a panel discussion on Facebook or the social media side. And for our first speaker, usa siya sa mga nakasubang na magsusulat sa pinulungang binisayang sinugbuanon ubos sa pandayang Young Blood Writers sa Bisaya Magazine. Nadawat siya sa Sansar Cebu is a reporter kaniadtong palitan, and he won the magsusulat sa tuig 2016 award from Badhalan, Cebu. Some of his poems include Orasyo Perata, Gugma, and Mananungko Mga Bituon, among others. So let us all welcome Mr. Kevin Lagunda. Here on stage. For our second speaker, he did a performance poetry a while ago. He was a former faculty member of USBF, a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics and Literature from the University of San Carlos, and currently taking up master's degree in literature at the same university. He is a member of MAD, or Mga Anak sa Dagang, and other works. Please welcome Mr. Julius Cesar Cudera. And lastly, our third speaker, currently he is a 4th-year student majoring in literature from the University of San Carlos, and he has self-published a poetry book titled Into Other Worlds. Please welcome Mr. Dolph Virali. And yours truly will be moderating this panel discussion. Gentlemen. Okay, of course, you know Facebook, and our topic for today will be about Facebook, and the exact title will be to FB or not to FB. So this will be my first question to the three of you. When was the exact date or time para sa mo nakakonect to Facebook? Oh, okay, let me rephrase that. Like, can you tell us, or if you can recall, kung when and how you got first introduced to Facebook? Mr. Yeah.
Well, for sure, college will go about 2006. Second year college, 2007. College will go Facebook.
So that was 2006, and I think Facebook kay Nico was 2009.
No.
Yeah, I think 2005. I think.
Mid-2000s, siguro.
Yeah, I think. So before Facebook, were you into other social media sites?
Mid-2000s on Facebook.
Yeah, I think Facebook started somewhere around the mid-2000s because I think it started toward a year after Friendster went off. So that was 2004. So probably 2000, yeah.
And with Julius, how did you get introduced to Facebook?
Oh yeah, like I said, when Friendster was starting to go obsolete, so to speak, with its testimonies and stuff, people started with Facebook. I think I was part of the first 100 million, I think, in terms of Facebook usage. I think I started as well 2006. I was third year high school. The first ever picture, if I remember correctly, the first ever picture I uploaded was Goku. Son Goku, Super Saiyan, Beast Mode, right?
No, how about you, Dolph?
Well, I did not know Facebook until I came here in the city. I am from Masbate and I'm a provinciano. So I did not know anything about the social media or Friendster, but I was introduced by my sister who also created my Facebook account. But at that time, I was not much active into, and it happened during my first year in high school, just at the same time when when I came to Cebu. Yeah.
And so apparently you were the younger generation of Facebook user here. And my question with the two of you, have you used Friendster, right? You use Friendster, yeah. And like how would you
gamit Friendster?
MySpace though.
like how would you compare? Yeah, even MySpace. How would you compare them to Facebook before?
Well, basing on personal experience, Friendster didn't really give that much of a connectivity to its users in a sense that it only allowed a bit of messaging here and there, but it mostly was centered on testimonies where you could post things that you thought about a person on their profile itself. But with Facebook though, you have apps like Messenger now. Messenger even stores your cell phone number. So even if you don't tell somebody your cell phone number, as long as you have it on your Facebook, stalkers can like call you. So yeah, I think that's the main difference, connectivity.
How about you, sir?
Oh, wala ako gamit ng Friendster sa own MySpace. Pag-uso sa Facebook dito naman, so gamit ng Facebook. Kaya kada karon tinod na ang connectivity sa imong mga kailan, kailan imong wala diri sa Cebu, nasa abroad, pwede ra ka maka-communicate nila through Facebook Messenger. In real time ang communication, daily kayo. Email, pwede man siya para matubag ang sa Facebook Messenger na pinaka-online imong ka-chatmate, makatubag na yun. Correspondence, mga instansya. So, may nakalintad po sa Facebook Messenger.
So I asked those questions about Friendster versus Facebook thing because it's also a way for us to know how Facebook changed the world instead of the Friendster wherein if those younger generations who weren't able to wala nakaabot ng Friendster kay. Ang Friendster is more on personal thing. And target sa Facebook is connectivity, that's right. Karon ang question, okay, right now, how often do you check your Facebook?
Kadali lang.
No.
Matagal lang. Kanina, check ang Facebook.
Same. Almost every day to check for notifications, updates on schoolwork.
For me, I'm actually undergoing the detoxification from Facebook. So the last time I really checked on my profile was about 3 months ago. Although I maintain my Messenger because that's where most of the people contact me from. Aside from that, I don't really check Facebook anymore. I tend to rely more on actual things.
Ako, reporter ko sa Sunstar, isa sa mga pamaagi nga makapangutan ako sa mga sources, pinaagi sa Facebook Messenger. So, dito rin ako, di na ako manawag nila, di na ako text. Pinag-friend ako ang source, panalitan, police official, and ako yung pangutan na pwede na ako dito sa Messenger in an instant. Kasi reply, hindi na ako manawag, hindi na ako text. Kasi nakanindot sa social media, Facebook. Nakatagog kamay ginhawa sa trabaho sa ka-reporter. Karon po, kasagaran sa mga police stations, active sila sa Facebook. Post sila ang mga accomplishments nila, mga operations. Muna buhaton mga reporter, mga cover sa police beat, mo check lang sila ang Facebook page. Mo sa mga bangko, na newsworthy, among pick-upon, Philippines Police. Nakatabang spot siya. Trabaho naman.
Good thing you've mentioned that because my next question would be about the advantages and disadvantages of using Facebook. So this would only apply. This would only apply in this current situation of Facebook. Let's disregard the previous previous things connected to Facebook. Let's focus on the now of Facebook. So you have mentioned about the advantages as a news writer. Dali ra makakuha balita tungod kay connected tanan and other advantages that you can share, sir, while using Facebook as a news writer or as a dili news writer.
Aside sa pagka-news writer into literature, literary, write poems. Nagoro kay crush, yung gisunda sa Facebook, yung gistalk sa Facebook. Pwede nyo i-stalk, ma-inspire ka siya, picture or na siya i-post, a message. So, basi makasuwat, portrait ko or poem or verse about her or hindi sa mo. Okay na to pa.
How about Dolph or Julius? Other advantages that you can.
I think Facebook, in terms, indot yun siya for endorsement. Ako kayo magtanaw karon sa Facebook kay more on, it's like a business platform. Every one of us can become a businessman or a person just by promoting something. We are already doing business, and if we get enough if we get enough likes or kind of views or reactions, kay, we're like again, like what I said again, kay, we're already doing business, so nindot dun siya for exposure. If not, and also if nag-plan ka to start a business, kay, yeah, Facebook would be a good platform for that.
For me, probably the most advantageous thing I can think about of Facebook is the fact that currently now we're starting a new literary group, Mga Anak sa Lagang, and we're still currently growing. We're currently at 12, I think is our population. Hopefully we're gonna get 16 within the year. With having a new organization, being being visible in social media kind of helps a lot. Let's say, for example, we have a workshop and we want to advertise. We could post it on Facebook and people would apply. Case in point, when we had the call for the FIGA writers, accidentally posted it in a wrong page for a school, everybody went crazy. So yeah, there's that. People are able to connect more or able to find out things more faster. If you find somebody who's cute, all you have to do is find out their name. You can then find out their status, if they're single, taken, married, where do they live, and so all of those things. Like what Kevin said, you can basically stalk them, stuff like that.
So, Sir Kevin mentioned advantages as a user, right? Advantages of Facebook, using Facebook as a news writer. Now, with the two of you, you were a former teacher, right? And how did you utilize Facebook?
Quite honestly, I didn't. I hated the fact that students would contact me through Facebook because I think that's informal. Sure, I'm opening myself up to students, but again, you have to consider that questions posted on Facebook sometimes are, rather your social life. Who you are outside the four corners of your office is also posted on Facebook. So from time to time, there is this, dissolution of the barrier between work and life. So that's why I really, as much as possible, discourage my students to contact me through Facebook. So I did.
And how about you, Dolph, as a student?
So as a student, especially as an incoming fourth year, Facebook is really helpful for me in a way that I can get references for any thesis ideas, or I can get updates from sa mga teachers na ako o kanang anything about books na nindot i-tackle. Yeah, I think that's more na akong Facebook for now. As a student, yeah, it's very beneficial for me in that way. But as for now,
so si Julius, he has mentioned about that sense of duality, kind of nakakainaw sa Facebook, nasa kainaw sa outside sa Facebook. So, let's say comment ninyo, like Sir Kevin or anyone from you. Parang mag-create mo persona sa Facebook and a different persona from what you're showing us right now, for example.
Sa ako, I don't know, if nag-create ako public image, pero sa ako Facebook account, di kayo ko share sa ako mga daily activities o sa ako ibuhat ng tawa, nagpatuha. Kaya may pag-share ng mga stories or mga pictures ako nagko or panakuha, tanahan ko. Di kayo ko although public ang status sa mga post, pero sa itaw kanin bantay ka mo ko sa akong privacy. Di mo ko sa may labot sa publiko ko, nagkaon ko chorizo, ang higayon na, or niinom ko Great Horse, aning oras sa may labot nila, niinom ko, ipitsura na ko glingo, niinom ko Great Horse, so ipakil nila yun, post na ko sa Facebook. So useless ba? So unnecessary ka mga post, di ko post. Pare ako, idea sa kinabuhi niya sa Facebook.
Both. As much as possible, I would also try to keep things for myself, not post everything on Facebook. Like, mag-post ako sa Facebook if it's something relevant or na maka-benefit sa other people. Yeah, like, kung na ako'y idea na ganahan ako na murag tagaan og other notions from other people, I post it. But I also think before, I think it first before I post kay I don't know, parang ako dapat relevant siya in a way na it would make people think critically. Dili lang tayo pataka lang post of anything na moral. Yeah.
Julia, you have a comment or?
Okay. In terms of advantages and disadvantages, I do apologize for this, but I actually see more of a disadvantage in terms of using Facebook. Don't get me wrong, I do like how it's making people connected, how people like my mom uses it to call my dad who's abroad, stuff like that. But you know, the scary part that I see here is that we were just laughing about the idea of stalking. Can you imagine? We are laughing at stalking. If you're not familiar with stalking, guys, this is the part where people actually try to follow everything that you do, know wherever you are. And I'm not being paranoid here, but I'm just saying. Again, I mentioned a while ago, the mere fact that Facebook Messenger actually uploads your number without your consent. Or if you notice, if people search you up on Facebook, the moment you add them, your number is already available to them. And for me, that's a very disadvantageous thing because, again, I would like to keep things private. Of course, I do post from time to time pictures about outings and stuff like that, but people don't really need to know what I'm doing this very instant. I mean, what does the world care? Even if you say that it's my wall, the moment you post it on Facebook, there is, if you've read the 19-page terms and condition, which I've actually brought with me here, if you read it, you would actually see it there that Facebook, you are giving Facebook the right to use your pictures, your information, in whatever way, shape, or form they wish to use it. Mo lang ginagawa. That's why, if echo what you said a while ago, yes, I do somehow create a persona on Facebook wherein I don't really post personal information that are somewhat true. I post things that are borderline fantastical and realistic. So, you know, just to make sure that, just to make people second guess sometimes. I mean, it's really, there's no replacement for actual face-to-face connections. That's just
That's right. You're talking now about privacy and the issues right now in data breach. If you have read the news, Mark Zuckerberg is now being questioned for the data breach from because of the 87 million Americans. The data of 87 million Americans and are being used for political stuff and other for revenue. And what's your comment on that issue? When in regards to privacy, data breach?
Well, that's exactly my point. And the thing with Facebook now, especially with locator, people can find, that's actually a good thing actually. If somebody kidnaps you, just turn on your Wi-Fi, put in your locator, hey, I'm here, get me. But if you're running or hiding from someone, let's say someone threatened your life, I'm gonna kill you. And then, you know, like an incident that happened with my student. She got run over by a car. The first thing she did was posted it on her My Day on the way to hospital. Imagine that. Instead of calling, instead of, you know, making sure that she's okay, the first thing that she did is took out her phone, turn on her Wi-Fi, minding. Yeah, with the breach, the thing is, with information nowadays, identity theft is very common. People can assume, we have cases now where people are saying, I have a poster on Facebook, hooray, I'm famous, I have a poster on Facebook.
It's a problem. They celebrate it instead of...
That's the thing. People celebrate things like stalking, having posters. You're not supposed to celebrate those things. You're supposed to get worried about those things because the fact that there's somebody posing as you could mean a difference between you being in prison or not, or you being killed or not.
That's true.
So that's just my current concern with Facebook.
Ikaw, sir.
Wala na, kailangan mindful na gid ang Facebook user ko. Kasi lagi pag-post sila pages nila or accounts nila. Kay, wala gina, pwede mo gina magamit sa mga grupo na na-interest ba niya. Magamit na lang na data masubalik ko gyapon sa imo manipulate ka ba mo day ko anon sa kaning data breach sa Cambridge Analytica sa Facebook. Nagmayon sila og mga detalye sa Facebook user without the knowledge sa user. Ilan nang i-convert something ito sa commercial baka musubay sa iyong filosofiya or sa iyong pananaw sa kinabuhi o sa iyong mga biases. Isubalik na nila dito, ma-influence ka, manipulate ka, baka decide ka into something. Ano na yung mga decision na. Ano na ba? So, siguro, di lang sa kayo magpapad o di lang siguro magpapad pirmi sa Facebook ma-influence, ma-blindside ka sa mabutaan ka sa ibang propaganda diha. Kinahanglan po mabasa o ibang sources siguro, newspaper tanaw news sa TV or mabasa o mga columnist, isa ba? Lagi puro Facebook, wala ba? So, i-bombard sa Facebook, tuwaan, wala ba?
Yeah, I guess that's also something that we should really think about because people nowadays think that the news they see on Facebook is the news with a big TH, big T. Not really minding where the sources are coming from. So, there's that.
Sakto na eh.
Di ba ang Facebook ay yung i-promote kay global interconnection or globally connecting people, but I think that's just the surface or na siya, but what's really sa akong pagsabot or sa akong pag-observe sa Facebook ever since high school, kay it's like where Facebook is turning us into products. Kay pag-agree pa lang ni mga ng terms and agreements nila, you're already agreeing to the fact na himuon ka nila product if basahon sa ninyo. So, we should just be careful with what we post on Facebook, especially kanang mga relevant or important things na di na ganahan makitaan sa tao. Kay wala kay bao, just like what they said, gitinda na data to a company that we didn't even without our consent, right?
Okay, so what can you share or sa may mahatag ninyong suggestion aside from the things that you said, how to be a responsible Facebook user? Is it necessary is there a necessary measure to be a responsible user, or what do you think?
Actually, that is something that needs to be look into. Now, with the advent of the K-12 system, part of the curriculum actually requires students to undergo a course or a subject that's called media literacy information, which is, I think, vital especially in the younger generations nowadays, in somehow enhancing their online awareness. Because again, most of the people who are targeted by these sort of identity theft, stalking, and so on are the younger ones. You don't really see older people, I'm sorry for the term, the older generation being targeted as much because, quite frankly, not all of the previous generation is on Facebook. It's mostly the young people. So I guess the K-12 system, or rather education really, is one of the better cures in helping us become more socially responsible in terms of online usage.
O yun ko ni sir, kana sakto itudlo gid unta na sa mga estudyante sa sana mamahimo sila responsibly social media user para malikayan ang mga problema ya.
I think naingon na nila tanan, but I'll just say one thing. Think before you post. Like, think it over, not just once, but also a million. If you want 1,000 or 1,000,000 times, just think it over before you post. It may be harmless for you right now, but who knows what will happen, or we don't know what consequences that will arise in the future, right? So.
But the problem about just thinking about posting before posting is the fact that no matter how much you think about it, if you really think that you're right, no matter how skewed that sense of righteousness is, you would really end up posting regardless of how many times you think it over or you thought it over. So I guess it really boils down to really maintaining a sense of neutrality, if you will. Allowing yourself to see the spectrum from both sides rather than just, letting your emotions get the best of you and just blah, 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 posting it. Quite frankly, most of the time people post about things that are somehow makes you wonder makes you question human intelligence sometimes, There are those weird posts that, what are you even talking about? Again, Facebook is fun and all, but just minimize whatever you do there.
Now let's talk about, this is a very, it's a very saddening issue, especially in the younger generations, wherein they use Facebook as a way to be validated. So any opinions on that area of using Facebook? We tend to post anything for us to get likes, and because of those likes, we feel like we are validated. So what's your opinion?
Okay, I think I'll start. I think I can relate to this because I'm at the forefront right now with the high school students. To tell you honestly, most of my students who post things like that are those that are in need of family interaction. It really starts in the family. If you're a parent, ask yourself, have I talked to my son or my daughter today? Have I made myself aware of what he or she has done in his day? Did I ask her or him that he has eaten? Those minor things. Those will actually help a child become more, okay, I can talk to my mom instead of posting on Facebook. Because most of the time, my students who are from broken families and then parents don't talk to each other and even them, those are the ones who really post everything on Facebook, including news. Okay, we'll get to Saklopuas later, hopefully. We'll get to Saklopuas.
O yan ko ito. Mga parents kibaw mo communicate sila mga bata, kibaw mo tanaw sa silang di ka nang sa nila aron dili po dangog sa Facebook or any other social media. Dito na pahungaw, ang gibati, na unta ang parents or any adult guardians, mauntay una makibaw sila mga yawok, sila mga problema, sila yambin lang mga problema, ano ba? Kisa Facebook. Wala, importante kin unta ang kining banding, family banding, ano ba? Kisa gagawin sa Facebook.
Bahaya ng validation, like, I think sa akong experience, there was a time na parang nangita sa validation through Facebook. Ito man lagi, dili sa tutagtun before tayo sa family. But along the way, I learned na dapat di jud kaayo I mean, di kayo tayo mo rely on Facebook to make ourselves happy by getting likes or getting comments and all that, but rather find time for ourselves and really know ourselves better. And also if di mo tagdon sa imong parents, try to establish or try to really talk to them rather than i-post dun sa Facebook. Kaya I think it starts dun sa family. O bahalag na ay problems, basta just talk. I think more na po.
So this would be my final question to the three of you. I will ask first, Sir Kevin. To FB or not to FB? To FB or not to FB?
Ito na FB Katolikan na lang pag-FB, pag-FB.
Okay, I actually understood the question in two ways. To FB or not to FB, meaning you create your Facebook account or not, or to FB or not to FB, meaning to post it on Facebook or not. Kaya mo naman na karon, di ba, ang that's the current terminology being used by the young ones. Naging issue, FBT karon, di ba? So, to FB na siya, to FB or to not to FB. So, that's how I understood the question now. If you are asking me of the former, where you create your Facebook account, sure, by all means, go for it. Yes, go. If you need to connect to people, go. However, if you're asking me about the latter, wherein you post whatever you want to post, because you want to post them, no, please don't. Because again, you have to remember that even though no matter how private you might say your Facebook is, there was this one author that said, the moment you release those words no longer belong to you. They become public, public property. So the moment you release your words on Facebook, they no longer belong to you. They belong to Facebook. The moment you post your picture on the bikini ka, or nagsigarilyo ka, nagsmoke ka, or something, I don't know, that already belongs to Facebook, not yours anymore. No matter how much you say, ako, no. Read the terms and conditions. Facebook says it's theirs.
Yeah. Dala ko i-add, sir.
You go, sir.
Sir, hindi itong opinion. Binuwang taong ko na. Pero hindi itong kung magganahan yung mag-Facebook, katong lagi ganahan mag-Facebook, kaya opinionated nga pagkatao. Ako lang pahimang lang di magpataka o suwat sa Facebook kung sa imong nakirans or nakikikalagutan ng tao kay gusto balik na mo dapat ay cybercrime law pwede ka magkiyag cyberlife o gidaot na rin ang tao pwede ka so ikaw na yung malaot pa bisag unsa pa nakatilod nag imong pick ka sa usa ka tao na malayan mo siya pwede siya kakihan mo so yan ang Facebook user dapat responsible yun.
Just remember na whatever you post on Facebook, you are accountable of it. No longer the days where you are able to say ignorance is a bliss. My friends, ignorance to the law excuses no one. Mo na ang tupad ka.
Well, I think they said everything again, but just to to Facebook with proper knowledge and awareness, Jude. And before Jude you will go into Facebook, really read the terms and agreements because you might not know what you're getting into. I think that's all.
Can I get a topic about Facebook? And right now, we are open for a forum. So if you have questions, you can address our panelists regarding Facebook or even the general term social media. Anyone?
There's actually a very famous politician who likes to use Twitter. Do you guys know who it is?
Trump.
It's the current president of the United States.
So to anyone who wants to ask question, you can approach the stage, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify naman, about this Facebook, you mentioned earlier about if what you post to Facebook, it owns by the Facebook, right? So, and then after that, whatever you're responsible, whatever you post to Facebook. So can you clarify lang naman yan?
Okay. Regarding that, it's actually stated in their terms and conditions. Let me read it to you, sir. I actually printed the whole thing because I was expecting it to be rowdier. Okay. Clause number 1. You give us permission to use your name, profile picture, content, and information in connection with commercial sponsor or related content such as a brand you like, blah blah blah. This means, for example, that you permit a business or other entity to pay us to display your name and or profile picture with your content or information without any compensation to you. If you have selected a specific audience for your consent or information, we will respect your choice when we use it. However, we are not obligated to follow it. No problem, sir. Now, with that regard, this means that Facebook is making money out of you. In that sense. They're using your information. That's why Mark Zuckerberg skyrocketed to the billionaires club in little time as possible. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
I'd just like to ask panelists on what are your thoughts on putting together literature and FB. Literature and FB.
Facebook literature, like what Wattpad is doing?
Or in relation to...
Or Blogspot? Or those other things?
Like and in relation to
creating works by individuals using Facebook. So what are your thoughts on this?
like writers using Facebook.
Ako gusto kong tingin na. Naway di kayo babae na Facebook friend ako. Ito na ako stalk niya. Or na siya picture. Na-inspire ako sa itong bala. Kasi posible makasuot ng bala. Pero wala pa na may tabo na ako sa ako masuot ko ng bala. Pero wala pa na may tabo na ako lang. Nakataba na ko ang kaning Facebook Messenger, ang correspondence sa fellow poets ako, like Chino, ni Rachel Dorotan, ni Nagari Tubat, Richard Nogar. Instant among communication ba about sa among craft, about mag-hisgot pa yung poetry, na may share bagong mugna na mga bala, instant, papadaan na mo, makritik nila, mabasa nila. Ano ko niya, makasentence nila, makapadaan sila sa ilang mga una-una o sa ilang bigil sa akong bala, sa akong sinuwat, tapos lang dahil sa suhisyon, makapakampo sa akong ukra. Para ako, tabang siya, Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, so if for exposure and endorsement alone, then Facebook is really a good avenue for artists because a lot of people and a lot of our friends and family are already there, and we can also endorse not only in the Philippines or I mean in Cebu or in the Philippines, but also to a wider audience. Like we can go global if we want to.
Yeah, sa Facebook Messenger po, pwede mo maka-create of group chat. So, mga like-minded people or mga fellow writers, wagi mo group chat or road to fiction or road to poetry. So, mag-isgot mo sa inyong craft, sa inyong work in progress. Ito mga siya, pero tuan lang niya, ang downturn lang dili siya personal interaction ba? So, virtual interaction ba? Pero at least, kung siya ka nag-instant communication, bisa nasa layo ang imong amigo, imong compatriot sa literature.
For me, actually before I deactivated my Facebook 3 months ago, the most common feed that you would see or posts that you would see from my feed were poetry that I would write. In a sense, I sort of made Facebook a place where people can criticize my work, tell me if it's good or not. It allowed me to have a wider audience, basically a wider group of people that would critique my work. So if you're asking me of merging Facebook and literature, yes, by all means. Especially if the community that you are going to be with are like-minded individuals who are also into writing and stuff. I was about to say something profanity. I'm not joking with you. When you post something on Facebook and you are with with like-minded people, you will see wonders being done to your craft, especially if you're writing poetry. When you, especially case in point, I had a poem that was, I started writing haikus in Sebwano. Yan na akong mentor na, di na mao pagkagamit na word house pa. So I did. I changed, and then from there on, ay mga usap ko na, dili siya mo rhyme. So bravo sa kasilabol. Sige. And so on and so forth. So allowing a wider audience to actually be able to critique your work can do wonders for you. But again, just make sure na like-minded individuals sa salang makakita sa inyong work. Kung hindi like-minded individuals, tagtaron ka. Bugo mga bugo. Katay na yun. Alright, oh, I would just like to add something to the comment a while ago, or the previous question rather. Regarding the privacy on Facebook. This is, I did not realize it was the first page. But yeah, let me just read this to you. Facebook can show you content that you might find interesting. We may use all of the information we receive about you. This information may be the information you provide at registration or add to your account or timeline. Things you share and do on Facebook, such as what you like and your interactions with advertisements, partners, or apps. Keywords from your stories and things Facebook infers from your usage of Facebook. So meaning, take note of the keyword infer. Infer is a very big word. Vague siya in the sense that Facebook can just assume that you do this and then give it to you. And use your information for that. So, Mona should say.
Thank you.
Rock and roll.
I think Sir Kevin has to add something about the literature. Okay, I think basically what they are telling us is that Facebook is a great avenue, especially for emerging writers who are even the struggling artists. It's a great avenue to market their craft, and I think that would be the basic summary of your answers. Any more questions? Yes, sir. I'd like to call here on stage Dr. Joanne Marie Stan. A round of applause. She will be launching Tagalog translated book from Bisaya, from Cebuano.
Thank you, Christoph. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to share with you, with the help of the Commission ng Wikang Filipino, this project is it actually began last 2017 with the first ever translated book from Cebuano novel from Cebuano to Filipino. The first published book was entitled Walay Igsuon, and then the second one is Abdul sa Kagulanan, and this is the third translation, which is entitled Felicitas. So before I start with the novel, I would like to share with you my experience with the translation. So the first time I encountered translation was when I was in college. We had a translation course, and that was the first time I had an enthusiasm with translation. Although at the time I thought that translation was really very hard, because although some people would think that translation is just a matter of transferring a word from one language to another, it's actually very difficult because you have to apply necessary aspects or theories so that the translation will be effective and acceptable to the readers. Or not only the readers, but also the publications and the publishing and the reviewers. So last, again, 2016, Dr. Hope, you with my colleagues, Sir Roderick Villaflor and Jennifer Inez, we started the project, and then through Commission of Wikang Filipino, we identified several Cebuano novels to be translated, and again, the titles were released na, and this is the third one. And we also have an upcoming book translation by Gumera Hanan entitled Mga Bungsod Ng Ipangguba. So that's an upcoming translation project. As I venture into translation, I started reading books, information through web, interviewed some people who did translation. I attended seminars about translation so that my knowledge during my college years will have additional knowledge about it and apply it to my translation, which is Felicitas, and later on to the next project. The books introduced me to some of the translators, which inspired me as a newbie, because this is the first time I had my translation. So hopefully I can, explore more translations later on, not only in Cebuano to Filipino, but also Cebuano to English, or Filipino to Cebuano, or Filipino to English. So when I submitted my manuscript to Dr. Hope, I was not really that confident, because although it was edited by a good Filipino teacher, I was nervous because maybe this is the first attempt, so maybe I wasn't good enough in this endeavor. But when the Commission of Wikang Filipino accepted the manuscript and decided to print the translation, I felt a little bit happy. Actually, I felt happy and a little bit confident about the work, because at least the work was not just reviewed by a few people, but those people who really know something about translation. So hopefully, although this is my first translation project, I hope that you will also support the upcoming projects. Next slide, please, sir. So, to introduce what translation according to Newmark, often, though not by any means always, it is rendering the meaning of a text into another language in the way that the author intended the text. So this is the meaning or definition that I embraced during the course of my translation. That it is not only a transfer of word, but the meaning of the text has to be transported from one language to another. Sir, next slide. So One of the principles and theories I also applied in my translation is according to Venuti, which states that a translated text, whether prose or poetry, fiction or non-fiction, is judged acceptable by most publishers, reviewers, and readers when it reads fluently, when the absence of any linguistic or stylistic peculiarities makes it seem transparent, giving the appearance that it reflects the foreign writer's personality or intention or the essential meaning of the foreign text. The appearance, in other words, that the translation is not in fact a translation but the original. So hopefully when you read the translation of Felicitas, you will not focus on how it is written in Cebuano, but how the Filipino translation also did the narrative of the story of Felicitas. So again, the Centro ng Wika at Kultura in the USC with Commission ng Wika Filipino had a project of translation started with Walang Igsuon, which the book launch was last April 2017, followed by Abdo ng Kalungkudan, translated by Ma'am Jennifer Ines. The book launch was last August 2017. So again, Felicitas is the third translation and we are launching it today. So hopefully you will support the translation project. And there are upcoming projects. Again, mga bungsod ng Ipangguba will be released anytime soon, maybe by August, hopefully. And then maybe next year we will also release 3 other translations, the Linda, which is my second project for translation, Bigan sa Espigno Adto sa Langit, which is the second project of Ma'am Jennifer Ines, and Ang Kulahan is also the second project of Sir Roderick Villaflor. Next. So, to get to know the author of the book or the novel that I translated, it is written by Odorico A.L. Viola, a writer and lexicographer born in Barangay San Roque, Cebu City. So he is lupad, that's nga Cebuanon. And Odorico A.L. Viola is actually a prolific writer because he has written a lot of poems and novels. And this is just one, Felicitas is just one of the many novels that he wrote during the course of his life. Next, sir. So, what is Felicitas? Now, what is the story all about? The story is all about, or Alviola's Felicitas is all about a female character named Felicitas who married Manuel and how her life is with the challenges of her family and her husband. So Alviola's Felicitas, which provided the prototype for what is both positive and negative for women in the Cebuano romance, encapsulates the virtuous ideas that later dominated the traditional love story. So basically, the story is all about a Cebuana who maybe we can identify her as a stereotype character because her character embraces her identity as a Filipina and as a Cebuana. So when you read the novel, you will see or you will identify that the kinds of women during the 19th century is perceived to be like this, like Felicitas, a principled woman who does not embrace, who stays away from immorality because she believes in her principles and she embraces her values as a woman. Okay. Felicitas and the traditional popular love heroine go to extremes to prove their sexual virtue, their lack of interest in money, and their insincerity and general lack of calculation. This is a male-dominated definition of virtue, and acceptance of these ideals benefits males directly by conversely associating powerful women with a lack of virtue. Because the novel actually uses a lot of male characters, and Felicitas is one of the female characters. There are actually 9 female characters in the novel, and one of which is Felicitas. And her character stands out from all the other female characters because she is basically the only female character who embraces her principles and virtues as a woman. So hopefully, when you get to read the novel, you will you will be inspired as a person, and you will understand understand what a woman should be and what a woman should think, no? Because although there are many issues karon about stereotyping and how a woman should be, but siguro this is one of the novels na pwede natong mahimong basis ba to how we should be as a woman. No, di lang kay weak and submissive, but we also have to stand by our principles. So to give us a sample of the Sebwano novel, which I will be reading the Tagalog Filipino translation later on, I will call on my sister, Ms. Hazel Ann, to read the Sebwano version of the novel, a part of the novel. This is actually my favorite part of the novel, and hopefully when you read the novel, it will also become your favorite part. No?
So here it goes. Nganong wala, apan nilabihang pagkadani kanimo, mabuot magpakamatay, kung dili mubutod. Dautan ka ng iyang gibuhat, mga magatimuha siya sa usa ka babaeng ninyo. Nganong manusab, kaya ang kasing-kasing sa mga babaeng ninyo, dili ba makahimo pagbati sa laing lalaki, gawas sa ilang bana? Ako ba ikaw nga naglisod sa panginabuhi? Musugod na lamang ako ni anang nagtimuha karon kanimo. Kung mubuot ka ni anang lakiha, magmalipayon ka kanunay, buhong ka sa mga tanan, magkasiga ka sa mga batong mahal o ubang dayan-dayan. Yati, ni Mutosay, pasayloang nga dili ako mahamot, mamati sa imong gisulti. Dili ako makatuo nga ikaw, nga nagpakahigala ka nako, mausaw sa Ginooy naghatag ni anang daotang tambag, tangay lamang sa mga babae nga mahugaw pangita.
Thank you so much, Ate. So this is my favorite part. Why? Because this is the part where Felicitas actually stood for her principles. No? Despite having Tusay, because this is a conversation between Tusay and Felicitas, Tusay forcing her, encouraging Felicitas to say yes to Don Alejo, a suitor who wants her. No? But despite the fact that she is married, and Don Alejo is doing his best to, make Felicitas be separated from her husband. So this part is actually really great because this is one of the highlights of how a woman should be. You stand by your own principles of what you believe in. So the translation is, mali naman yung ginagawa niya na magkagusto sa isang babaeng may asawa. Bakit nga ba naman ang puso ng mga babaeng may asawa hindi ba maaaring magkagusto sa ibang lalaki maliban sa kanilang asawa? Kung ako pa sa iyo na naghihirap sa pagtatrabaho, sasang-ayon na lamang ako sa sumusuyo ngayon sa iyo. Kung pipiliin mo ang lalaking iyan, magiging masaya ka palagi. Sagana ka sa lahat, liliwanag ka sa mga mamamahaling bato, hiyas at iba pang palamuti. Ikaw talaga to say, patawarin mo kung hindi ko nagugustuhan ang sinasabi mo. Hindi ako makapaniwala na ikaw, na naging kaibigan ko, ang siyang magbibigay sa akin niyang masamang payo na para lamang sa mga babaeng may maduming trabaho. Okay, so hopefully when you, again, what I wish for when you read the novel from the Cebuano to Filipino is when you read the Sebwano, it's a separate novel from the Filipino. Make the Filipino an original version of Felicitas. Now that's what I hope for when I try to translate the novel. So hopefully we support our Cebuano literature, our Cebuano culture. We buy our books. No, naamantay ko this is a book launching, and the book is actually, if I'm not mistaken, discounted for the book launching. And later on, if you wish to grab a copy of the translation, maybe mo increase na siya gamay because the price for today is actually for the book launching. Okay, hopefully you grab a copy of the translation novel. Thank you so much.
Available there, and yeah, we would like to invite you in front for a photo op with the book.
Magsamok-samok niyo, magsaba-saba mi kadiyot hare. Tari man.
Sige.
So, kani among balak karon gibugna ra nila mo karon din karon namin nakita balik. So, hinaot, dili ra mulod doon. Di na siya bitli sa iyong paminaw. Sige, sugdan ako, sugdan. Ang uluhan na niwala kay among iwanan o pinalangga. Pinalangga. Ayaw kong labda sa imong mga pahiyong. Take ko, may practice. Sige.
Paitan. 1, 2, 3, go.
Ayaw kong labda sa imong mga pahiyong.
Mamati ka gilabad. Sabak ay salat to dahil sa akong dagway, nga ganahan ka sa akong pahiyong.
Kay kining pagtagugtog ning akong kalimutaong ning subay na sa huni sa imong ngalan. Murag ang sugod sa kanta nga pirmi na akong damguhon.
Tinun anay ba jud ang imuha nga ngalan ko ang gisubay sa imong kasing-kasing?
Wa ba ka masayod sa kasakit, sa pagkupot sa pisi, sa pag-antos o paglaong, unya dili na di ay masagot.
O, kaingon ba na ko mabukti ang pisi sa paglaong o pag-antos?
Busa, ayaw na itong paglabda sa imong pahiyong. Sa akong kay tingali ako madayunan sa akong pagkatagak, pagkamatay, o paglupad.
Hay baya, kiningon balay ko, naditi ka sa uon? Bali. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Ang title sa Ubala kay Char. Ingon sila, ang mga pulo nga balik-balik, binuang nga daw. Sama sa balay-balay, truck-truck, o karon Char. Char, katong giingon ni mo na ako sa una, nga ako rang pinakagwapa sa imong mga mata. Char, katong imong giingon nga dili ko nimo biyaan. Char, katong imong kong giingnan nga sayo. Char, katong imong ko pang gihatag-hatag kanako. Char, katong imo pa kong gibalakan nga kuno para sa kuha. Char, I love you. Char, I love you. Char, I love you. Gusto na, biyaan natin ka. Char, di na lagi ko. Char, di na lagi jud ko. Char, pero ate ko na. Char, thank you.
So, hi everyone, I'm Joel de la Cruz from Casica. So, ako ay makwento rin is entitled Gugmang Giatay. Nagsugod ta isip sa kamanaghigala, manglaag, bisag asa, basta kitang duha anaa. Sa atong pagkinuyugay, nisamot ka lang ang atong panaghinigalaayog ikaw. Wa nakabantay nga ako, diha sa imo muranag giatay, di tungod kay ako naglumot-lumot giatay, kay ako sa imo pinang pataya. Wala ako kasabot sa akong gibati, diha sa imo akong ikaw, anaa, okay na, kumpleto akong adlaw, kung ikaw, akong malantaw. Sa kaligang tao sa kalibutan, nganong sa imo paman, nganong ikaw paman nagipitik sa akong dughan tungod, bakini sa imong itsura ako'y kumpara sa angel raw tungod, bakini sa imong batasan nga sakit o galipay mo kong kiubanan, o tungod bakini sa imong pagwapo. Nakainumdum ba baka sa katong mga adlaw nga ako imo pirming agbay-agbayan, ako'y taon ato mura nagilantan mo kasabot sa gibati na mugnaw nangurog ikulbaan gikilig sa mga istorya singkibaw ko mga friends ra. Nakainumdum ba baka sa katong mga adlaw nga nagdungan tagkanta bisig imong tingog perting batia pero para na ako nindot siya. Nakainumdum ba baka sa katong nanglabang na sa kasada nga akong kamot gikupta ni mong perting ug buta susama sa akong pagigugma diha sa imo hugot murag wa nay makabungkag ning akong pagigugma. Dili ko kasulti nimo sa akong gibati kay mahadlok ko basin ikaw mawala og mulayo sakit pero pero agwan tahon sud pero kaya nun kay mao ka na ang dapat buhaton. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Maria Victoria Beltran for short. I am from Casitas also. Kaning akong piece nga giandam is man siya may gamit pag ma-artex last Martex na competition sa spoken poetry. So entitled Ang Connection. Lahira siya sa ubang tao na akong nakaila. Kamao po siya magpasakit pero naglabaw ang paghigugma. Mamunal, mausaba, pero hindi ko man istoryahan ka. Bisan ang akong kinabuhi gubot pa sa lukot na alang gihapon siya sa kuha nagakupot. Duyog niining akong kinabuhi kuno sa hugot. Siyang kabuhan niya akong giadto sa iyang tiyan. 17 katuig iha akong giatman. Sa kasakit o kalipay iha akong giubanan. Lahir siyang pihana makadalag pagpangga. Kaya ang iyang pag-alibag giubanan ang disiplina. Makabilib siya isip akong mama. Sama siya sa awang bida na akong nakita sa lida murag sa hope o darna. Ang pag-asa sa mga bugat na butang ko siya gahumana pero sama siya ni Hugo husgan mo sa ang problema. Di siya malunok o bato para makalupad pero si Darna pero pagpalupad sa among mga pangandoy kaya kaayo niya. Og sa usaha kaadlaw sa kuha na siya'y gitugan. Nibalik na sa daw ang masakit sa iyang tutunan na pangaron inong wala masakitan na pan ako na kulbaan. Di ko gustong ipakita sa iya nga nahadlong ko maong akong gibuhat nag-iyat o nagpapadlong ko. Naglaag-laag para inong baliwala ra ko. Ug suguan di mo tuman at yan na o gunalan di mo ikmat sa hining na istorya gusto dyan og syagitan. Di makontento istoryahan mga bati pa dyan ang hinahan. Hantod siya wala kagwanta ning siyapaw sa atubangan. Inday kahibaw kung ikaw maayong pasaligan matod pa niya bisan ikaw lang. Pahulma ko sa imong dunggan. Gikan sa akong pagkasalaag ako nahigmata. Ang akong nagpatulog-tulog na dughan na kamata sa iyang mga istorya akong prioridad na usab na. Nausab na gikan sa pagkamaulawon pinaagi sa suwat karon ako na siyang istoryahon. Di tuod sa pulong apan matinumanon. Tungod sa kasakit o kahuod sa akong dugha nangita og paagi para naay mapagawasan mo sawa damha ang akong talento na batyagan. Karon na pangutana. Unsay connection ani sa akong drama anong giuna ang pagsuwat imbis ang pagtagad sa mama ang inyong di kaatubang lahi nga klase palihog og sabta. O lahi ko kay di ko ka istorya og direkta nga bisan nilang mama o papa di ko dayag sa ilaha. Pero tungod aning ilang giingong suwat-suwat ra. Ang sa unang maulawod karon ka mao na mo istorya. Ang sa unang muhinag sa tago karon ka muhinag ubanay ng pamilya. Ang sa unang hakog sa gugma karon ka mao na mo pasundayag ngadto sa mama. O karon la sige ako yung bang pangutana kung kinsa ang akong mayang pasalamatan aning istoryaha. Ang ako bang sa unang inigugma o ang ako bang mga amiga. Ang ngayon ko bang pasalamatan ang sa unang unang inigugma sa pagtimpla o mga paitaning akong kinabuhiya o tudman. Nakabuhat ko o mahugot na eksena. Kung ako bang mga amiga suryuhan, nuway na yung gibuhat ko di ako himantayan. Nasa paghilak, matag-adlaw, gusto sila sa mga hinungdan. Ubasan pwede ang akong mama nga nara sa panimalay. Natungod niya, nakaila ko sa istoryang tinabangay kaya ang pamilya di mo biya o musuporta kanunay. O karon para sa pagtapos ako ng tetsoon, bahid kang mama o sa arte o sa'y koneksyon, ang inyong pangutana ako ng tubakon. Si mama biglang kay ang akong inspirasyon. Siya ang makina niining akong tibuok na koneksyon. Maugwa siya o di tungod niya. Di ko mo function. Tungod ni mama nasamot ko ka-inspirado. Tungod kang mama magsuot na ko taga-segundo. Kay tungod ni mama akong utok di na barado. Tungod sa maayong pag-amuma sa akong inahan ug sa akong mga sukli nga puro kasakit tanan. Sa katapusan, napadpad ko sa akong katumanan. Kundiin ang pagsuwat sa akong mga sakit nga nabatian, sakit pa sa gwitin nga liatos karon sa akong inahan. Kinintanan akong talento, kaniya ni nagikan. Salamat.
The today's celebration was quite tiring, but even still, we were able to tackle on a lot of things concerning literature, arts, and of course Cebu, where we are right now. Local talents and discussions on travel writing and also issues on gay writing. And there were also panel discussions on fake news yesterday, and today we had the talk on to FB or not to FB. So I'd like to thank everyone who has supported us in this celebration, and we would like to thank the sponsorship of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and for Robinson's Galleria Cebu for once again accepting us here at Galleria. Thank you very much. And to those who continue to support our local artists and our local culture. So good evening everyone, and thank you.